No, Power Hour is on. We
Yes.
got
Woo!
that's there we go there.
Just
And
so you know, he's a director of wrestling and
yeah, well, heck yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's just it's not going deal. That's I mean, take all year to do it, but we'll get there done. That's how the way
No,
it works.
actually,
Good stuff though. Weather-wise, in Manhattan, of course we're coming to the 11 Manhattan. So, I'm not sure what the weather's doing outside, but here it's 22 degrees. It's like it's a little warmer there in Manhattan. Okay, there you go.
no,
Okay.
actually, it's 34 degrees.
So there you go.
Woohoo!
It's a little bit
Yeah.
warmer there. This
Yes,
week
but
it's
of
supposed to
course.
warm up a little bit this week, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping to get
they're
some release.
talking about it's going to be about, it might hit 70 here in Manhattan.
Ah, there you go. That's where we're talking. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and I swear, allegiance to Donald Trump.
Ah, yeah.
They just had to vote for no more lawyers. I swear, allegiance
Exactly.
to Penny Farthing.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, and, yeah. I don't. The Donald. I don't know. I think that campaign is going to slowly disintegrate, but just okay. Okay, it's still going to be strong right through the end.
One woman tweeted, she's 71 years old, and she tweeted a statement that said, "Short of Donald Trump shooting my children in front of me,
Yeah,
I
she would
will vote
support him.
for him."
Okay, yeah, she's going to vote for him.
Yes,
Yeah, there you go. So
and
I would
my
say it's solid support right there.
yeah, I mean, and that is the type of person. He's right. He could actually shoot somebody. He could shoot them in the head,
She's
point
would she have
blank,
stayed? Yeah,
on Fifth Avenue and televised, and he wouldn't lose any support whatsoever.
right, right. So there's that.
I mean, the mere
Uh,
fact that he gave press credentials and fucking legitimized neo Nazis.
yeah,
So it's a whole horrible lot.
yeah. There was
And
a
I have
couple
yet to speak to
Hawkeye, I
any
guess,
Hasidic,
tonight
and I
out there,
have yet to
but
speak to any of the right wing Jews that support that are like extremely that are right wing who are like that love the evangelicals because they support Israel and they don't give a shit that it all has to do with end times and us being converted and or killed. It's convert or die,
yeah,
just like in Islam, convert or die.
right,
But
right,
um, because as long as they support Israel, we don't give a shit.
right. It's all good. It's
You know,
all
you're
good.
they point fingers at the liberal Jews saying you're the ones that are let us in said, oh, just it's okay, just trust them and it's let us into the gas chambers. And this time it's the extreme right. No, it's the extreme right wing Jews that are doing this.
There you go. Right.
I mean, right now I'm thrilled
Uh,
that I don't have anything to do that I'm not doing any type of uh, brand repping at B&H Photo because I probably because like I said they don't give a shit as long as they support Israel. People don't give a shit that this man. I've talked about Pete Santilli, and I know Santilli from his being an affiliate marketer for Trump's vitamins, and that's how I got to know him.
yeah,
I almost became one of the
yeah.
affiliate marketers for the vitamins that had Trump's name on them,
Okay.
and what I am now talking about is the GOP primary campaigns. It's really nothing more than a Trump reality is a Trump is a shaped reality show, and it's being shaped by the news media. Trump has all Trump hasn't really had to spend a dime on political advertising, or because the news has been giving him free airtime. And because of the way they're covering him as a news report rather than they don't have to reciprocate to Cruz or Rubio. They don't, because hey, it's not political, it's not politics. We don't have to do equal time with you, and they don't.
Right. Right.
And so the news media right now is shaping the political reality, is shaping reality for the presidential campaigns on both sides.
Oh yeah, no question about that.
People point out,
yeah.
and people point out, look at all the people that come out for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, but those same tens of thousands of people that show up for Sanders' rallies don't also fucking vote.
Right. Yeah, they don't show up to vote. Yeah, that's right. They're
big
rally goers.
Fucking deal. 10,000 people show up for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they on when the primary rolls around?
Yeah, when the election
are they even fucking registered to vote? And you can't say,
probably not even registered.
Because of all I can guarantee you that if Trump is the nominee, you're going to see a roll. You're going to see see the GOP totally roll back the voter suppression acts. Because they don't want Trump. Yeah. They know Trump because if Trump is like one of the people that was assaulted at a Trump rally is thinking about not just suing the people who assaulted them, but also suing Trump for inciting it rather than stopping it.
Yeah, right.
Because he is, get him out of here. Take his coat, this, that, and the other. By saying take his coat, he is condoning theft. And
right.
I'm going to do this next week's podcast, but I had taken some notes, and if you'll hang on a sec, I'll get them.
There you go. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Hold on a moment.
All right. So we got that. And it was kind of, there was a couple cockeyed today out there in the Midwest. So it was, and I guess Bernie did end up winning one or two of them, but like I say, it's getting these people to the polls or something.
I had to walk a little ways to get my notebook. I've been reading Virus of the Mind that talks about memes and how they survive and replicate themselves. And
right.
The reason Trump's negativity resonates with everybody and is being repeated and everything is that we as human beings are wired to respond quickly to things that frighten us.
Yeah, BS, nonsense. Yeah,
not BS. I mean, as long as it triggers that primal fear.
Yeah.
That's why negative memes are more powerful than positive ones, because a positive meme is not something empathy, compassion, trust, cooperation, equality, acceptance. They're not things that threaten our survival. However, racism, bigotry, conspiracy theories, fear, those are primal. Those are the things that threaten our survival. That's part of the it's like food, fight, flight, fuck. That's why just throw sex into something and that triggers the brain. That's why there's so much sex in advertising, or because it triggers. It's like saying, "Oh, if you buy this car, you'll have all the chicks you want."
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's a Mini Cooper.
Yep, even if
sexy.
it's a Mini Cooper. Yeah,
it's a sexy car. Even if it's a gay car.
Hell yeah.
You'll have girlfriends or boyfriends.
Yes.
Flopping out of the back seat because
big time.
The same thing with shimmery, shiny hair and diamonds and all sorts of bullshit. Even when they're selling things like laxatives. Love your lax, and then you see yourself, and I'm just thinking, just add some more fucking fiber to your diet. Drink more water. I mean, if you're that constipated that you're on medication, maybe you need to look at your diet. Unless it's like something really like something that's really horrible, that is actually a medical condition.
Right. More often than not, though, it's diet. Yeah.
And then,
just get some fiber.
And then I went into like looking at the similarities, between society at large today, in general today, between the thinly the dystopic post-atomic war English society of 1984. And only one version of the film um, actually shows you that beginning of that. What actually brings around that authoritarian um, life in London on Airstrip 1. And that's an early version in black and white that was made in England. Brilliant, wonderful film. You have in 1984, and Orwell has in the story the Junior Anti-Sex League. We have abstinence only organizations.
Right.
There's the Ministry of the Mini Love in 1984, which is like heavily guarded, and it's a maze, and you might get shot on your way in. We have one police plaza, which is like, heavily fortified. You've got the proles, which are the people that the inner and outer party really don't care about. They're just not that important. They're not a danger, so they can go about their business and not being surveilled. That's the GOP base.
Right.
Then you've got Prol Feed, which is the rubbish that is broadcast to the proles that's mindless entertainment. Television programming, bullshit news, that sort of thing that comes out of the versificator, which is creates things you don't have to think about, sound bites, newspapers, movies, things you don't have to think about because they're just innocuous. There's no way to actually, nothing to engage your thought process, your critical thought process. And then you have the mythological resistance in Orwell, which is like the counter-revolutionaries and all of that. That keeps people on edge and on their and just fearful and conspiratorial. And here today we have Illuminati, the Illuminati New World Order, Zionist, non-European sort of. These are our existential threats. The party, which consists of the wealthy people and what could be probably termed as middle-class people. Today we would call them the 1%, but they're mostly the wealthy people, the one where the rules do not apply to them. Today we call them the 1%.
Yep.
And with Prolfi, we have our shaped reality shows, the Kardashians, the Real Housewives things, and holy shit, I like watching those shows because I like seeing how awful these people are, and that is only because, and I call it shaped reality because it's edited for some of these people to look perfectly horrible. But frankly, when I see them talking in their little moments alone, I still don't want to know them. They're perfectly horrible, even in their little solo sound bites.
Yeah, I don't get the whole Kardashian thing myself.
Well,
but,
it's mindless entertainment.
whatever.
You don't. It's something. It's like you like the way they live, but you don't really want to aspire to be like them. Because because they show you that the way to fame is, making a sex tape and then having it, released because you're fucking somebody famous. They're famous for nothing. At least, what is it, Chloe, who's a model, high fashion model, she's actually doing something positive. She's just not like freaking hanging out, and no, it's Chloe and Lamar. Whoa, I lost something here. There we go. I gotta go to my system settings here. Yeah. Then you watch the Real Housewives, and you've got the people who are like I said, oh, you don't really, Yolanda Hadid, who's Gigi Hadid's mother, on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she's dealing with Lyme disease, and nobody's believing her. And Lisa Vanderpump is like going, well, I don't believe her. I think she's dealing with Munchausen syndrome, where she's making all this shit up, and and you're thinking, and these people are your friends, and they think you are fucking lying about your health, lying about your what's wrong with your children's health. Again, these are people. Do I really want to know these people?
Indeed.
Now they're doing a reality show on the preachers of Atlanta. Where are the, where and where why aren't they doing a reality show on the rabbis of New York or the rabbis of San Antonio? And frankly, watching these shows, I find it rather interesting that of all of these shaped reality shows, the only one that has white people in it is Beverly Hills. All the others have African American women in it. I will take that away, with the exception of Mob Wives, which I actually liked that show, because at least you know that those women actually meant some of the shit they said. I mean, they had real friendships, even though they would fight and stuff like that. That they really liked each other. I don't get the feeling that any of the women on any of these other shows really like each other.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, like
I guess.
on Atlanta, Kim Fields, who was Toady on One Day at a Time or whatever it is, Facts of Life, is now part of the show, and she's the straight-laced one. And now you got Nene Weeks coming back in, and she's like, there can only be one diva, and that's me. And she's trying to get, and she has said it on air that she wants to get rid of Kim Fields because she doesn't think that she belongs on the show. She doesn't fit in. Kim's the fucking sane one. She's got a stable family. She prefers spending time with her family. She doesn't like being away from them. And to the other ladies, that, at least the way the reality is shaped in editing, that's weird. So they have to try and stir shit up, like they made insinuations that her husband was gay. Well, you know what they call him. And it's like, these are, like I said, how can you like these women? How can you like these people? Or you watch these saying, thank God I'm not them. And
right.
I'll be honest, the first time I watched Mob Wives and saw Big Ange, I honestly thought she was transgender, because she was a very statuesque woman, and she had like a lot of these ladies on this show had really far too much plastic surgery and too much collagen pumped into the lips, and the face looked totally fake.
Right. Right.
And Big Ange died last week from terminal cancer, and she was dealing with cancer, had surgery while they were filming, and she so it makes and towards the end of the last this last season, she just got too sick to work, because she went in to see the oncologist, and she got a diagnosis of terminal cancer. She now had lung cancer, and she had stage 4 brain cancer.
Yeah.
And being a cancer survivor myself, I understood her anger at her husband not being there. Because I had to go to all of my appointments alone, because not one person I knew in this city would go with me.
Right.
So I understood the anger and the bitterness completely, because she felt abandoned at that point. The one point where she really needed to have her husband with her the most was at that when she got that diagnosis and he wasn't there, and she felt totally, completely abandoned. Even though she had all of her friends with her, her husband wasn't there. And that's why I like that show, because the emotions I saw on that program, were genuine.
Right. More.
Even
more so than the
even the show's security getting in between two of the ladies to keep one from pounding the crap out of the other.
Yeah.
Was a genuine moment.
It's these shows are something that
like
I can watch them for about 2 minutes. I'm lucky.
Like I said, they're shaped reality.
Yeah.
because
I just
because
about
they
two
have to
minutes.
have
I'm
it,
done.
because they may be an unscripted,
Yeah.
in document and all of this, but then the show has to be shaped into something people will watch. So
Oh yeah, no
so
question.
it's
Got to
shaped
be edited
reality.
down. Yeah. You got to take 10 hours worth of stuff and edit it down to an hour or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, I find it utterly fascinating that the most compassionate, real people on all of these programs are the mob wives, and they're actually the most normal ones out of all of them, and they've all got money, and yet they're the least pretentious of the of the whole crew. Of the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
Sammy Gravano's
It's a
daughter
little different.
just totally lost it when somebody used the term rat in her presence, talking
Ah.
to her father. And she just lost it. And whoop, that was me. That was my glass of wine hitting the microphone.
Ah. Okay. Uh.
Oh, and by the way,
Four
you're
one
listening.
seven 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 1454. Also, you can get it on
Yeah,
here.
and if you're
And
listening to us at netrootsradio.com, you can scroll down to the bottom of the
yes,
page and join people who may or may not be
got
in the.
Ricky the conductor standing in the chat tonight with us. So
Okay,
yeah.
is anyone? I'm just going to launch um,
Yeah.
chat as well on my. Let's see if that okay.
There's that going on.
Oh, and then I found
Yeah.
out
These.
why the wireless was not really why everything kept why the wireless kept dropping on my tablets and on my Linux box is because the idiot because I was getting ready to buy a dual band modem, and the idiot boy from Time Warner said, "Here, no, you don't need that one. Here, take this one." You sold me a single band. So on stuff that should be getting 5 gigahertz, I'm only picking up 2.4 gigahertz in
Okay.
speeds. So I don't have things won't load very quickly on my tablet.
Right. Right.
Thanks a lot, Time Warner.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, there you are, Wink. And oh my God, it's like really so cool to be able to see what I'm doing. Although the only problem I've got now is that because I've got the my laptop mirrored to the TV, and I've got my other laptop in front of me, just in case I needed to go running onto the inner tubes. I can't type anything. I can't type anything. So
There you go.
yay!
Yeah.
Hey, Ricky. And
Yeah. It's hard to do everything. That's all.
yeah, you know how it works. Directions.
And
Not
I
pet
got
lead.
the.
And it's just I haven't quite got XChat set up on the Mac, but
There you go.
oh my God, it
Okay.
was so much fun. It was so. For those of you that have never worked on any laptop with with an 11-inch diagonal screen, you don't know how lucky you are, how fortunate you are, because as I said earlier, instead of doing something smart with part of my tax refund, which was to pay down part of my a bit more on my one shot loan to keep my apartment, I instead got myself a new MacBook Pro Retina because I needed to actually be able to work.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And poor Wink started, he was listening to me go. I really, saying I really do appreciate. I really, really do appreciate the fact that the station, you know, got me back up and running 3 years ago when my old MacBook died, burnt up, crisped itself out on the inside.
Yes.
And there's things I really like about Linux, but frankly, I am over the concept of free software as long as you want to spend half your day running all over the internet finding the things that you really need and then being told you don't even have them when you go to compile it.
Right. Right.
That got old really quickly,
Yeah. It
and
gets
it
old real
became
fast.
so, and it actually it was such a pain in the ass, as as a voice actor, that I really didn't even like recording on
Right.
it. I mean, last week's podcast, I have discovered that I have exactly an hour's worth of space still storage currently on my tablet because I recorded it on my tablet
Yep.
and then uploaded it. So I do know that these things work.
Oh yeah, no question. The thing with Linux, you got to be a geek really to
Well,
enjoy the Linux experience.
well, yeah, because
Because for the average Joe Blow like the rest of us,
well, that's because you see that's
you're
because
going to
the
spend
free.
all your freaking time
Well, like I said,
trying to get that thing to
the
run.
reason the software is free, ladies and gentlemen, is that 98% of it you have to build it yourself.
Yes, yes,
And there is actually a relatively decent digital audio workstation for Windows, Macs, and for Linux called Bitwig. But the Linux people are just highly offended that they're being asked to pay for it.
yeah, yeah,
What do
indeed.
you mean we have to pay for this? It's supposed to be free. Well, this person. Well, that well, you see, that's why
Somebody actually put
why
some time
Bitwig is
into it. Yeah,
far more mature as far as its development goes as a Linux digital audio workstation than Ardor is because it's subscription based.
yeah.
Like my
It's
favorite free antivirus, Clam XAV. The guy decided he couldn't afford to like continue developing it, you know, without getting some form of remuneration for his work. So he made it a commercial product,
right.
and it's only $25
Yep.
a
There you
year.
go.
But that's but once I have um, enough money after I pay my bills, if I've got anything left over, I'm gonna get it. Going to reinstall it on the Mac because you know
Yeah. Yep.
it's if you value something, you should pay for it.
Yeah. That's all.
You know,
Even kick in $10 or whatever the case may be. But this
yeah,
case is $25. So yeah, no
and
problem.
I'm segueing into you can go to netrootsradio.com or you actually go to patreon.com/netrootsradio and become a Patreon of us. You might get something cool. Definitely not a bumper sticker because it's a bumper sticker. But we're looking
Yeah.
at stuff. But by becoming a patron of the station, subscriber, supporter, whatever, patron.
Yeah. You
What
can
you're
do
doing
two
is you are
dollars a
helping.
month, whatever. I mean, it's
Well,
just
by doing that,
Yep.
you're helping employment rates on the San Carlos Apache Reservation because that is where our servers are located.
That's where the money goes, right? Yeah.
Exactly,
So yeah.
and it's and so you'll be helping a developing American business and
There you go.
giving jobs and training to Americans. Yeah, we got sunscreen over in London as our other IT guy, and we've got a couple of folks
Great.
up in Canada, But our servers are located on the San Carlos Apache Reservation in Arizona. So, and they're the one. That's where all the money goes to keep our servers up and running, and so you know,
Yeah, it costs $2 a month, whatever, and
yeah,
it's barely a little more than a cup of coffee, really. And you won't even feel the pinch, as they
even though
say.
Wink
So
should be paid, and definitely Justice should get paid, because Justice does a yeoman's job as our program director.
yeah, oh yeah,
He's amazing at what he does. At what he does in the constraint within the time constraints that he has of running his own business, of taking care of family, and
indeed, yeah,
everything else. Um, it's just amazing that he does this, and he's
yeah.
been so. Thank you, Justice, for being especially patient with me and understanding. Um,
But yeah, it's happening. It's we continue to march. So just if you got a couple bucks, just toss it our way as far as
yeah,
that goes, because it's just a one-time setup fee. $2 a month, whatever. Boom, you're done. It only takes 2 seconds to set that up. Really, it's just a recurring payment right out of your credit
yeah.
card or
Yeah.
PayPal
Oh, yeah.
account. How you want.
And
Anyway, you want to do.
if you become a Patreon, and your credit cards get flagged or your debit card gets flagged for recurring charges, the best thing to do, especially if it's something that they don't see normally in with your business transactions, inform them that you're setting up a recurring charge. I say this
Good.
because when I was visiting Team Rural down in Georgia last year, and doing a workshop on setting up a podcast and podcasting, my debit card got flagged because I never really, I just like suddenly there were these charges showing up in Georgia. So I had to call them and say, yeah, I'm down here, and this is me. You know, it's the same thing when my tax return was going to get taken out of my checking account. I let them know what was going to be happening, and then was very, very good about not spending any money until my tax refund time. And then I know, yes, the order went through.
Yeah. So we got that. We're all back up to snuff as far as most of our, workstations and yada yada. So we're good there for a little while anyway. And
Oh yeah,
you
and
know,
you'll be introduced to it if you're going to be at Netroots Nation in St. Louis. Stop on by.
yes. And then 16. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then yes, in beautiful St. Louis in July, and yeah, because now I can leave my poor little Linux machine at home because it's never going to be able to connect to the internet.
Right. Right.
It's
There you
never
go.
poor thing, But I will have to get an Ethernet connection for my for the Mac, but that's okay because I will have my choice between. I have a Thunderbolt. I have two Thunderbolt ports, so I can get a Thunderbolt to Ethernet,
Yeah. Well, cord. Yeah. You need
or
a.
I can spend
Yeah.
money and
You
get a
need a.
Belkin USB 3 to Ethernet with that has three extra USB ports on it. But I'm probably going to go with Thunderbolt because it's going to be faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe you got USB 3 on that too, so
Yeah, these are all
that'll be
USB
pretty
3
speedy too, actually.
and Thunderbolt 3. Um,
Yeah. So
but
you're good to go as
and I
far as
will admit
speed
this
goes.
is
We're good.
heavier than the Dell XPS, which weighs
Yeah.
3 pounds and is a real and actually, I'm repping Dell computers at the Best Buy over on Lexington and 86th, and
There you go.
they have been able to actually reduce the amount of glass needed for a 13-inch laptop by taking the camera and putting it in the bottom of the glass frame. So they actually have what's called an infinity edge. So it's an actual 13-inch screen in a 12-inch laptop body. It's the same size as the 11-inch i3 laptop.
Yeah.
Same amount of space, same weight, 3 pounds. And
Right.
I will say, I can actually feel the weight difference when I carry this as opposed to my little Asus.
Oh yeah. No
But
doubt
it's got
about it.
much better battery. But it has much better battery life. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the way it goes.
Yeah. It's yeah, but I mean, you're looking at it. It looks like it's thinner than the actual, just the MacBooks versus
Well,
the.
yeah, it's a bit thinner.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a bad little overall. Not a bad computer. A little heavier because
It's
it's
about
got
a
the.
quarter of an inch thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So I mean,
seriously, the XPS 13 is thinner than this.
yeah. Well, there you go. But I mean, you're talking about tenth of an inch kind of thing. There's not much
Yeah.
difference in those boxes, really.
Well,
But
actually, at this point, considering all the internal parts are from the same manufacturers, the only difference
yeah.
is the name on the case and the
Yeah.
operating system if
Pretty
you're
much.
running a Mac. I mean,
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
and an HP laptop is a Lenovo laptop, is a Dell laptop, is an Acer, is
Yeah. There's only
Toshiba
two or
is a
three
Toshiba.
manufacturers. I mean,
No,
definitely.
no, it's no. All the internal components are the same.
Right.
It's the name on the
The
box
box.
now
That's all.
that
Yeah.
matters. And
Yeah.
I'm proudly representing a company that, after in customer satisfaction and everything, after Apple comes Dell.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, and now that I'm not at Dell and not at work, I have people coming in and saying, I had a Lenovo and it just fucking died on me. Toshiba, I returned it. I just returned this. I want the Dell.
Yeah. Yeah.
HP. Ew, I hate HP and anything but HP. It's like this is.
Yeah.
You can't say anything because
Right.
you don't know if the person telling you these stories are secret shopping you.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Exactly.
I always work under the premise that somebody that's asking me questions and says, well, I have this and I have all these issues with it, might be secret shopping.
Right.
And you have to work that way when you're doing something, in retail.
Yeah. Just stay.
You always have to presume that you're being secret shopped.
Yep. That's all.
because that's the way life is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
you're listening to the Roundhouse Power Hour on netreachradio.com, streaming streaming lively through the TuneIn Radio app, and you can hear our
Yeah.
podcasts
Oh yeah.
on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, your favorite podcatcher. And I'm live on Saturdays or Sundays or whenever I decide to do my Saturday show when I work. So that's
Yeah.
why, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to today's podcast, you're going, Spreaker? This is on Spreaker? Yeah, because I will do the show live on Spreaker and then do the upload and then it gets replayed on Netroots Radio at its proper time and place.
Yeah. Works like that. Spreaker's a great platform too for people getting started in this type of thing in podcasting or whatever. Just real nice way to get started, and it's a nice platform. Works real easy. You get your desktop broadcast system, and you're
like
good to
I
go.
said, my Asus laptop, the Linux laptop, is now my desktop broadcast system, because unlike PCs and all that, there's an application for Linux called Internet DJ Console, and it allows you 6 simultaneous connect streams. And the reason I'm sticking with this is that when life happens, it's for our program director. He can set it up so all I have to do is connect it, and I'm good to go to simulcast as we do now tonight to Spreaker and to TuneIn through Netroots Radio, and then he can go and deal with what he has to deal with without having to worry about having to be there to connect and disconnect and do the handoffs and everything. And so it's a great application if you guys, like I said, Linux makes great servers. And that's essentially what my Asus is now, because this program is completely, totally reliable, except when I do something stupid. It's the only time it doesn't work is when I do something dumb, which is a lot of times.
There you go. It's a little bit of a learning curve on that Linux. There's no question about that.
Well, yeah, it's because, like I said...
we got that, 3 years ago, and I thought 3 years ago, well, Linux has been around 10, 12, 13 years now. They must have their act together.
Yeah, well, no, they do have it. As far as the operating system goes, Linux is really quite stable.
Yep.
And again, the issue is that what comes on Ubuntu is basically what is what most people would need a laptop for: word processing, internet.
Yeah.
It gets bunchy when you need to be using it for something else.
Right.
Because that is when you have to go and look for the stuff you need and build it yourself.
Yes.
For those of you that don't want to pay for Microsoft Office and all of that stuff, get LibreOffice, or, it's free and it's totally compatible with Microsoft Word. You can import the documents in and out. And it's actually easier to work. It's actually seriously easier to use on a PC or a Mac than it is on Linux for some bizarre reason. Where
Linux boggles
Docs.
down is audio and video. That's all. Audio apps and video apps is where they kind of stumble a little bit, where you got to build your own.
Well, yeah, because again, we went into this whole concept of free software. That it's free as long as you're willing to compile it yourself. And if you I haven't been able to edit any photos on this thing because there is no precompiled. There's no screen calibration for the screen. So I take my photos and hope to God that the color's right when I print it. I can't even deal with the print. I don't print because the screen's not calibrated.
Yep.
So it's kind of tough.
Yeah, it is. You got to do all the stuff for the most part yourself. So I mean, anytime we're learning computer stuff, anyway, it's just
But at least now I can talk about. So at least now I know the vagaries of this of Linux and other stuff. Because way back in 1999, I guess I was like serious. I was thinking about Linux on my Windows 95 machine, but I was too terrified of fucking things up. I'm so glad
Yeah.
I am so glad I resisted that. I really would have been screwed. But then again, if I had done that and
Yeah.
gone back to Windows 95, I wouldn't have had the fucking issues with dial-up networking that caused all sorts of mayhem on my laptop. Thank you, Microsoft tech support.
There you
So
go.
so that's the way my life's been going today. It's been good, and oh my god, it's just um. Oh, the other thing I like about where I'm working is that it's very dog friendly. So people come in with their dogs, and I get to say hello to the dogs, and people look kind of like, and the owners are just stunned that they're normally not friendly towards human dogs, as dogs are all over me looking, it's like, oh yeah, that's just, he doesn't behave like that around people. Most, it's like, it's this power I have, you know. So I ran into a bulldog that on my way to work that had been in the store previously, and I had to stop and say hello. And you know, owner and I
Right.
recognized owner dog and I all recognized each other. It was really sweet, and now they're moving to San Diego. So, do they know what they're getting into? Sunshine,
Yeah.
mudslides, earthquakes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. So, what do you want to talk about? Oh, guys, we got 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes before the hour, and you can give us a call at 417-717-1454, or even Skype us at netroots.radio and talk to us. We would like to make this far more interactive. I'm sure you have. Yeah, I know you guys have something more interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Indeed.
Give us a call.
It is Saturday night, and granted, everybody's got their thing going on Saturday night, but
You know,
for anybody over 45, chances are they're home,
well, you have to remember on
putting
the east
putting
on the
some pizza in the
west.
microwave
Well,
and calling it
on
dinner.
the
So
here on the
yeah,
East Coast, it's past everybody's bedtime, even though it's a Saturday night, and
yeah,
everybody's out partying on the West Coast, and the people in the Midwest are just going, "What the hell did we just do?" With the primaries in those states, um, and I'm actually working on a Ted Cruz campaign song, "Booger Ooger 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 Baby."
hey, cool, yeah.
It wasn't it Cruz who picked or was it Rubio that picked his nose on camera
Oh, I didn't catch that.
during
No,
during the debates the other night, the massive
yeah,
debates,
yeah,
or what? Vote for me for class president.
yeah, for real.
The mere fact that Trump didn't sweep the primaries, I'm sure he's going to say that, like he's going to say, oh, look at me, I got this, that, and the other, but I should have, that there was fraud in the others because I didn't win them. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's still a long season. Hillary's obviously the far away leader in this whole thing, but still, I mean, there's still a couple months left before we get really serious about it. And people just, people that aren't into this on a day to day basis are just waking up to the fact that, hey, this is an election year.
Well, the whole
The
thing,
average Joe
well, the
Blow
whole, th- the whole thing
just
is
gets
that,
into this starting to get
but
this.
what's really good about what we're witnessing is that the moderate Republicans and the actual conservative Republicans, the real conservative Republicans, the Reagan Republicans, are like going, we'd rather see Hillary in the White House.
Yeah,
Well, you've got Bernie
yeah, they're
supporters that are
nervous.
saying
They're
they're going to
nervous.
sit out the election, they're going to sit out the vote completely, or probably they're just not, you've
Right.
got you've got the real conservatives in the Republican Party, and that excludes Reince Priebus and all the others and the CPAC people, um, going, we'll hold our nose and vote for Hillary
Yeah.
or Bernie.
Yeah. It is. It's an important election. Obviously, mostly for the down ballot part of it, but also you got the Supreme Court nominees here
But
too.
it's not just down ballot. It's
You know,
all elections are important. Midterms are just as important as presidential elections.
hell yeah, yep,
And the base of the GOP, the base of the Tea Party, because the GOP is dead. The Republican Party is dead. It
yeah, it's on
it's
its way
dead.
out. There's no
No,
question
it
about
is
that.
dead. It has imploded. It is dead, and they did it to themselves.
Yeah,
So we can't even call them Republicans anymore. We have to call them the Tea Party.
there you go.
It, you know, um, is that people like oh, there's all this fear, as I said earlier. People respond to fear because it's one of our primal triggers. It's one of our primal buttons, um, and you can tell why Rubio and Cruz aren't doing well is because they actually don't want to be pushing those buttons. They're not actively pushing those buttons, those fear buttons.
Yeah,
And Trump is totally driven by fear, just by the mere fact that he cannot bear to be a loser. He never talks about his business failures.
yeah,
He doesn't talk about Trump Air, which I
right,
remember. Doesn't talk about the failed Trump game where he actually, trademarked his name tried to trademark his name, Trump, for the game.
right.
The failed, everything else that he has touched that has failed. This is the only man he owns the only casino that has ever declared bankruptcy twice. How do casinos go fucking bankrupt?
Yeah,
Casinos
that's
don't go
that's hard to
bankrupt.
do. I got to say, yeah,
Think about that.
yeah, pretty difficult to do. Uh, Most of them make a pretty good buck. And obviously everything's in the house favor. So I mean,
Exactly. The only
betting
way
wise, they're
the
probably
only
picking
way a
up about
casino goes
15% of the
bankrupt is
take.
if somebody is skimming so much off the top you can't meet your bills.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the only, you know, and in New York City, it is virtually impossible to get any construction work done without brushing up against the mob. But Trump was investigated for bribery. Charges were never brought. But that mere investigation should have prevented him from getting a casino license. Yet he was able to exert enough influence so the Gaming Commission didn't go back that far.
Right, right.
So who did he pay off?
Yeah, there's
the
that.
Jersey
There's
Gaming
that question.
Commission. He's had a lot of failed businesses, and I think the way forward with dealing with Trump is to keep bringing up these failed businesses. Not just Trump University, where, yeah, he was right. The first Trump University at first had an A rating. The very first time it was reviewed, it got an A rating. From then on, it was downhill. So when he says it had an A rating, he wasn't lying, but the last years of it had Fs. There were so many complaints. He knows damn well that when he is personally attacked, that it's only going to increase his popularity amongst the proles who see him as the poor put upon, boot of the heel, richest to uber riches,
Yeah,
I mean, today $1 million is not a lot of money.
not these days, no.
But
Yeah.
back when his
I mean,
father gave
15,
him
20
that
years ago,
loan,
yeah, still
when
some
his
real
father
money,
gave him
yeah,
that
not these
loan,
days.
that was a lot of money. And he's not the
Yeah.
only
Oh, yeah.
exceedingly successful man whose family helps seed his businesses.
Right, right.
And when I listen, when I can bear to listen to him, and it was again usually on the Shaped reality show Apprentice. get the feeling he's able. He cannot run a business, but he knows how to put people in business, as was proven with Celebrity Apprentice. He knows what's a good business idea and knows how to market it, but he himself is a shitty businessman.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and he's going, art of the deal, I know how to negotiate, yet he just like totally screwed over the people at CPAC because he was negotiating with them and they said, no, we're not going to bow to your will. We're not going to softball questions you. You're not going to, no. He refused to answer questions at CPAC. So he walked. He said, well, if you're going to, he didn't want to answer any questions from conservative press people.
Right.
Who are obviously going to softball him. And he's got, people pissed as ever with Fox News because they're being mean to him. He's the boy who always got his way. Probably was not a school bully because he's too much of a fucking coward. But he was unteachable. You can't tell him anything.
Right.
He's pissing people off because first he had his hard stance on immigration and now he's backtracking on it. Those angry white guys, there's not enough there to elect you unless they're going to go, unless they're going to burn down the Capitol and blame it on, Muslims or the people that he wants to. I love this. His latest thing is like is that when if he becomes president, he's going to do away with the H-1B visa. But meantime, he's going to take as advantage of it as he can. He says that Americans don't want these seasonal 90-day jobs. Really? Seriously? I would take a 90-day job, house cleaning.
Yeah.
You just don't want to pay me a fucking minimum wage.
Right. Exactly right.
And the people that are sponsored in on H-1B visas, ladies and gentlemen, they're not paid minimum wage. Employers are allowed to pay them less money. So the men and women that he is bringing into as guest workers to his hotels and country clubs in Florida, they're being paid less than minimum wage. I'll work on a golf course. I know how to aerate a golf course. Seriously, I do. I actually had a temp gig aerating a golf course in Concord, California.
There you go.
The thing is that, I mean, there is a difference between saying Americans, doing, farm labor. That is an actual skill that takes decades to learn. It's not just backbreaking work. It actually is a skill that takes years and years and years to do properly. Seriously.
There you go. Yep.
Because you just cannot come in and you say, I'm going to harvest these beans because, I'm going to pick this fruit, going to do X, Y, or Z. If you don't know what to look for when you're picking, when you're harvesting.
Right.
And even California had a policy where the farms had to look for American farm labor before they could bring in the braceros, which the Mexican migrant farm workers who evolved into the farm workers union. Because I remember the grape strike. Wow, that was just amazing. Table grapes. If you love table grapes, and during that strike, you just didn't buy them. Because you didn't want to break that.
Exactly,
You did not want to break that strike. It didn't matter who you were. You didn't want to break the strike because you understood what was going on there was giving people their dignity. And you still, even though you have the farm workers, there are still abuses being done. There's still, not enough porta-johns for people to use. They're still being abused.
Well,
And you,
there's a lot of agriculture in California, which
yeah,
a lot of people
and
quite get.
people don't
They think
remember,
it's
but
all
there was
San
a phrase
Francisco and
called,
L.A.
but there used to be a phrase referring to migrant farm workers, farm laborers as stoop laborers.
Yeah,
And the reason they were known as stoop labor was because of the type of hoe they were using. Very short, it was a short-handled hoe where you had to bend over to use it. That got outlawed. That was banned because it was so destructive to people's health.
yeah,
And that was also, so that was also part of the um, birth that when that was going on and working to get rid of stoop labor. That's also when the seeds of the United Farm Workers got sown. Because it's hard to work if if your back is killing you and you have no medical coverage and you can't afford to take the day off because your back is out of whack.
right, right.
You know,
Yeah, you still got to feed the kids.
yeah,
So yeah,
I don't eat out at restaurants because I don't know if anybody in that kitchen is sick or not.
right.
And I think it should be mandatory. I'm old enough in my day. I remember when you got sick, you stayed home from work.
Yeah, yeah,
But then again, you got sick. You got sick days. And I think it should be, you know, mandatory that if you work in the restaurant industry, whether you're a busboy, bartender, or anywhere you work anywhere in a restaurant, and you're sick, you don't come in. You are required by the health code to stay home and not and because you can't. I mean, for most of these things, when you have like hepatitis outbreaks in restaurants and stuff like that, it's because somebody in the kitchen's sick because they can't afford to take the time off. They don't have because they don't have the money to go to the doctor because they don't have insurance.
right.
We're not we're a sicker society because people don't have health care and they don't and we're not into preventative care. Think how much lower premiums would be if insurance companies paid people to go see the doctor to keep themselves healthy instead of when they got sick. Wow, save money by keeping people healthy. It's cheaper.
Yeah, pretty much. Sadly.
Yeah. It's but one bitch moan, and I think we're almost at time. As I'm looking
Yeah,
at my big old clock on the wall.
yeah. We got about 40 seconds, 45 seconds. We got to get out
Wow,
of here.
kind of impressed with that, man.
Yeah, and well, time flies in this hour, and we need to
Yeah,
just don't blink, as they
time
say.
flies in this hour, and it seems to like drag on my solo show.
Just the way it works. Yeah,
So
I know that feeling.
I ended up
Uh,
playing some hopefully pod safe music, a couple of three tracks. Um, one of which is probably one of my most favorite songs called Deutschland über Disco, and it was like I heard this. It was played on West Coast radio because my favorite line in there is Deutschland über Disco, Oakland über San Francisco.
okay, the clock on the wall is going to knock us off the air, so
And on
that'll
that
do it
note,
for tonight.
Deutschland über Disco.
Yeah, we're out of here.
La, 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 la,
See you
la,
next
la.
week.
See you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
We're out. Thank you.
Bye.